Imagine confidently guiding a prospect to a yes without even feeling pushy or desperate. Now, this is the power of what's called in the industry the assumptive close. And it's acting as if the sale has already done, as if it's like a done deal. And when you master this, my friends, everything starts to change in sales. Now, look, why should you listen to me? My name is Jason James. Over the last decade, I've taken what I used to do in psychiatric nursing and brought it right here into sales by teaching people the secrets behind real influence in helping people to buy. Because the key is not selling. The key is to helping people make better decisions. And that's what I used to do all day long as a psychiatric nurse, trying to get people to take their medication when they don't want to take it, especially in a locked facility, was hard work. They used to call me the patient whisperer. I used to go out there and help people who weren't wanting to take their medication and help them to take it without any aggro. And I brought that same psychology into sales. That's allowed me to personally close over 22 million in sales. And my clients have gone on to do over 200 million and growing. And I'd love you to be next, my friends. Now let's talk about this assumptive close, because a lot of people have heard it before. And if you're right now, if you're a sales rep, if you're a business owner closing your own deals, or a business leader or sales leader with a sales team, I want you to listen up. What you've been taught about the assumptive close is garbage. Let me explain why. Everybody will tell you to use certain words like when we start working together. This is a presupposition, right? So don't say if to the prospect, you say when. And that's great and it's true. Presuppositions are great to a certain extent. But unless you do all this other stuff beforehand, it doesn't land as well. Because the key around this is to not sell to the prospect, it's to help them to buy. So you should be picking up on buying signals from them all throughout the sales conversation. You should be picking up on buying signals right from the beginning. So I have a system called the invisible sales method. And in that, the first step is called cultivate. Cultivate is where 80% of the sales happens before it's even done. And one of those things is by making the prospect want to buy before you've even sold. Now, how do you do that? By putting in certain things that give you buying signals as the closer. Because let's be perfectly honest, as a salesperson, do you want to have more certainty right before you ask for the sale that the person's gonna say yes? Or do you want to chance it and see what happens? My guess is you want to have absolute certainty that they're going to say yes at the end rather than I'll give it a go, right? Because look, think about it like this. When you ask for the sale, the more pushback you get, the more objection you get, the more delays you get at the point of closing, the weaker the close becomes. It's a bit like a rubber band. The more you expand a rubber band, the weaker it becomes. It loses its tightness. Is it making sense? It's the same as the close. You get one shot at full strength before it starts to lose its strength. Because when you ask for the sale and you get pushback, that's a hit. You've lost some power. You ask for it again, they still give you pushback. That's another hit. You lost some power. And before you know it, it spirals out of control and they're off buying from someone else or telling you they need to think about it. And that's it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a big believer. When we're on a sales call, someone's buying something up in here. Either they're buying your offer or you're buying their BS. Someone's closing someone. And a lot of times as sales reps, as business owners who are trying to sell stuff, we are being sold by the prospect. In fact, we're supposed to be doing the closing and we're getting closed. And it happens because many of us are not having that level of certainty before we ask for the close. Now, I want to give you an example. I'm a professional speaker. I have been all over the world speaking and training on stage. I've won 9 awards as an international speaker. I've won an 8-figure award for all of the sales that I've contributed in my speaker business as well. And I've also won Icon of the Training Industry Award, which is normally something people get after being in the industry for 20 to 30 years. I did it being in the industry for only 10 years. Now, why am I telling you that? Because when I used to be on stage, one of the things that I used to look out for are buying signals from the audience. Because I'm a speak to sell speaker. You put me on stage for a 45-minute, 90-minute talk, I'm making money that day, plain and simple. And the thing that used to help me the most was using my invisible sales method by planting certain things into the audience to trigger them to give me a buying signal that will help me to know that when I get to the end of my talk and I do a close, more people are going to buy. That basically means my vibration was on a completely different level when I was about to ask for the sale because I'd got all these buying cues and these buying signals all throughout my talk. And you can do exactly the same during a sales conversation. Now, for example, I knew just by looking at certain people when I was on stage and them tracking me. Everywhere I go, I could see them in my peripheral vision following me. They were making notes every time I gave an instruction, like write this down or raise your hand if you agree. Like there were certain people in the audience that just followed me like clockwork. That built my confidence. It gave me so much certainty that they were in, that when I went to ask for the sale right at the end, I knew someone's buying up in here. Now, it wouldn't be everyone because I didn't close 100% of the room, but let me tell you something. I knew people in the room were going to buy. So when I went to ask for the sale right at the very, very end, when I went to ask for the money, my certainty was so high that I closed like magic. And the same can be done during a sales conversation. So what you've got to do is not just use the assumptive close like everyone else teaches, which is when we work together, blah, 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 blah. No, you've got to start teeing that up right from what I call the cultivate phase of my invisible sales method, which is stage one. This is the pre-sale. So what we want to start doing is asking the prospect questions before they come and jump on a call with you, because you should have sold 80% before they even speak to you. And the best way you can do that is by making some assumptions. Okay. Now, my guess is if they've booked a call with you, the assumption is they have a problem that they want solved quickly. So you could ask a question in your survey before the call as to how quick do they want this problem solved. Now, in some of our funnels, we have a question where we just make the assumption that they want it solved quickly. In other funnels, we want to kind of weed some people out. So we'll say, how soon do you want this problem solved? Next 24 hours, 0 to 30 days, 30 days plus. Anyone who puts 30 days plus, we typically would push them away and say, I don't think this is the right time for you. Why do I do that? Because I already know people who come on with zero urgency are the ones who say, I need to think about it. I'll call you back, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to waste my time. So we just politely decline their application. So think about it. How can you use assumption here to help them on the sale? So make the assumption that there's an urgency around this, okay? Can you also make an assumption that they've tried other things before? Of course you can. Make the assumption. Say, what have you tried already to solve this problem? Let me know down below. List it down below. What have you tried? Great. Next thing, make an assumption that they've already invested to solve their problem. Ask them, what have you invested so far to try and solve your problem and it hasn't worked out? I want to know. Have they spent 10, 20, 30, 40,000, $50 on something else that hasn't worked out? I want to know all of this stuff because I'm making the assumption now that they've tried to solve it before, it hasn't worked out, it's ended up costing them money. I want to know all of this stuff, okay? And can you also make the assumption in the pre-sale before you even open your mouth and speak to them? Can you make the assumption that they're willing to invest again in the right solution, as in working with you to get their problem solved, okay? Make that assumption there. My assumption is if you're still looking for a solution, you have some funds set aside to solve it. Would you agree with me? Yes or no? Brilliant. How much have you set aside? Give them some brackets if you want, whatever it is. There's pros and cons to that. I'll explain that in a different video. But my point is I'm using assumptions right here in the pre-sale. Making those assumptions means when I jump on a call with someone, I'm making the assumption that they've come here to buy today. So you know what I said at the beginning of the video is acting as if the deal's already done. This is where it happens. I've got data. I've got information. I've made the assumption that they've showed up because they're willing to invest in solving their problem. That basically means all I need to do is do my job correctly as a sales professional, make sure that I listen to them, make sure I amplify the problem that they're going through, make sure I explore what they've tried already, how much they've spent on trying it, what do they want instead, what's the promised land, what would it mean to them, how would they feel once they're there, etc., etc. Then I take the parts of my solution that match up with the problems that they're going through. I prescribe them a unique solution to their problem, and then I ask for the money. I know if I can do my job during that call, the assumption is the deal's already in the bag. So yes, then I can start using when we start working together and using presuppositions and all that kind of stuff because they actually land better because of all of this other stuff that's going on. So when people talk to you about act as if it's already done, that's what it really means. It means having stuff in your bag that builds your certainty, just like I used to do on stage and makes me go, wow, this, you know what, deal's in a bag. The deal is already in the bag. All I got to do is take the money. That's all I got to do on this call. And when you line up calls like that, look, you will open your diary in the morning, see all these calls in your diary, and you'll be going, that's worth this much, that's worth this much, that's worth this much. And you can almost predict what your income is going to be for the day. If you're a closer or you're a sales professional, you can already work out what your commission is going to be. It excites you because you're like, hey, this person's buying, man. Deal's already done. Deal is already done. I just got to show up, do my job, and they're going to give me their money. That level of certainty, my friends, completely shifts everything, and it makes the assumptive close have an extra layer to what most people are teaching you right now. I want you to show up in your business, and I want you to make the assumption that anyone who booked a call with you is going to buy. They're going to buy from you. And the more certainty you have around that, the more you are going to get in terms of sales. So that, my friends, is my take on the assumptive close. Other people have got different takes on it, and I get that. What I'm trying to say to you is I want to teach you stuff on a neuroscience level, something deeper that they're not teaching in most sales training programs right now. Because why? Most people are teaching top layer psychology, or if they are teaching you deep level psychology, it's overcomplicated and it doesn't make any bloody sense. Look, take it from me. As someone who used to be a former psychiatric nurse, I didn't have time to overcomplicate stuff when someone wanted to punch my head in because they didn't want to take their medication. I didn't have time to overcomplicate information to try and close a patient who was also hearing a voice from someone else telling them that I was the enemy. Is this making sense? If I'm able to close in those high pressure, volatile situations using uncomplicated messaging and uncomplicated language and using triggers that influence people, whether they're hearing voices or not, then guess what you can do, my friends, when you have that secret weapon inside of your business right now? You will be outselling your competition all day long. You'll be outselling your colleagues all day long at work if you're a part of a sales team right now. If you are a sales leader managing a team, look, drop the ego. You don't know what you don't know. If anything, you should be upskilling as well. Either learn this stuff from me or hire me to come and train your team, because at the end of the day, if they win, you get paid too. Think about it. You're here to groom your ego or your bank account. Choice is yours. So look, I have an option for you right now. Either around this video or in the description, there's a link, or you can comment the word sales in the comments down below. I'll send you a personal invitation to my calendar to have a conversation. Conversations cost nothing and you will not be pitched. Now that call will probably be with me or one of my executive team. Let's have a conversation about where you're at right now. Where are you struggling with your sales? Let me gather some information from you. And if it's the right fit, I'll talk to you about how we can install the invisible sales method into your team or into your business quickly. You can start making a U-turn within the next 24 hours using our stuff. Some of the stuff that I teach you guys, you can implement quickly. You don't need to be off the sales floor for ages. It's nothing like that. No more 3-day trainings and taking people out of work where they should be closing. No. These are tweaks that you can make quickly, and then we can work on the bigger picture stuff over the next 12 weeks. I like to work with people for 12 weeks. This is me personally working with you one-to-one. It's also working with all of my team in our group coaching programs. But over 12 weeks, we get to work together. We get to crush it very, very quickly. And then we start to fine tune and scale as we progress through the 12 weeks. And the first conversation costs nothing. There's nothing to buy on the call. We don't pitch to you on the call. Just a quick conversation. So comment sales down below or click on the link if there is one in the description, and let's have a conversation. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you do it now. Like it, leave me a comment, subscribe on your favorite platform, hit that notification bell as well so that you get notified every single time I go live. And until the next video, my friends, I wish you all the very best.